Hi, my name's Tori and I'm a quilter. This is going to be the first of hopefully many guides in my quilting introductory guide. So this is going to be the first one about what tools should you have in your quilting kit. So I've got a couple of my things here. First of all, one of my favorite things is my rotary cutter. I couldn't possibly make a quilt without one. You want to get a good one. This one is an Olfa, which I've read online a lot of places. Everybody loves an Olfa. This is about my third rotary cutter because every other one that I get seems to wear blades out. I think I wore out 5 blades in my last quilt, and apparently Olfa has a lot better blades. So get yourself a nice rotary cutter. 45mm is usually a good standard size that you can use for doing your small piecing as well as larger blocks. They do have larger 60mm ones that you can get if you are making lots of large blocks or you're cutting through thick quilts often. But usually 45mm is going to be your standard one that's going to work really well for you. What do you need to do? You need to have also a cutting mat. This is my smaller mat I use for a lot of the smaller piecing. You can see this one's not that great. It's kind of got lots of fabric stuck in it and stuff, but you need a quilting mat, a self-healing mat, and you're only going to use your quilting rotary cutter on this. And to be able to cut on that, you want to have an acrylic ruler. They come in inches, centimeters. This is my smaller one that I use for my piecing. I also have a larger one that I use for my bigger pieces as well as doing my finishing work. You also want to have, obviously, pins, pin cushion. These are your friends. You want to use them when you're piecing together all your little pieces, and also safety pins. So a lot of people talk about having basting pins, which are larger pins. We'll get more to that in the end. Large kind of pins that they use to put their quilt sandwich together. I just use safety pins. They work out quite well and less expensive than buying basting pins because they're not all name brand. Need a good pair of fabric scissors. These scissors are not going to be used for anything except your fabric and trimming your threads. Make sure they're a good pair, they're sharp, don't cut yourself with them. I've had mine for about 10 years now, and they work really well still. Another thing, get yourself a stitch ripper. You're not going to want to use it ever, but when the time comes to it and you find that you've made a mistake, stitch ripper's your friend. Be very careful, they're sharp, pointy. I've poked myself with them numerous times. And another thing, which you might oddly not think to put in your quilting kit, painter's tape. So when you're quilting, when we get to that point of the guides, sometimes you want to make really straight lines while you're quilting, but it can be really challenging when you're quilting on a small home machine. And so if you put a piece of painter's tape, which is low tack so it won't leave stickiness all over your quilt, put a piece of painter's tape across your whole quilt, you can follow that line and it'll keep you straight and make you good quilting lines. Some other things, you obviously need to have a sewing machine, which I'll take you over to my sewing station. Walk over here. This is where I sew here. As you can see, this is my little sewing machine. I have actually a pretty nice sewing machine that I inherited from my grandmother. It's a Husqvarna Viking. It's got a keypad with a whole bunch of different fancy sewing machine settings and all that. So my nice little sewing machine station. You'll need one of those if you're going to be quilting. And that's about it for your quilting kit, for the start of your quilting kit at least. You're going to add more tools. You're going to add bigger rulers, smaller rulers, nice big quilting pad, which I can show you my big quilting pad here. As you can see, it's up on my kitchen island. This is my big self-healing quilt mat, and this is my big ruler here. So you can see some of my fabrics for the quilt I'm currently working on that I'm going to use to show you guys how to do your first quilt. So, in my next guide,